November 2016 was when Jio was introduced. And in anticipation of Jio being introduced, a lot of telecom operators slashed their rates. If you look at the internet consumption, in June 2016, as a country, we were using about 200 million GB of data per month. By March 2017, that figure had increased to 1.3 billion, an enormous increase of 6.5 times in a span of 9 months. It's almost unparalleled. At the same time, there was this huge influx of Chinese smartphones and featured phones. So an ideal device to consume information, but it is so low powered that you can't do anything more than that. The political parties realize that there's this fault line in our democracy where there's a huge digital divide, in the sense that there's literally next to no digital empowerment, and at the same point in time, all of them now have an internet connection. So let's bombard them with as much information as we can, as much propaganda as we can, and see where it goes. And it worked wonderfully well. And that is when, in September 2016, I and the co-founder, Mohammed Zubair, so we sort of co-drafted a document which essentially laid out the plan for Alt News. When we first started Alt News, our main focus or concern was that there were these videos which were going viral, and we knew that these videos are false, they are misleading. A video from some gang war in Mexico or Brazil being claimed that Muslim Hindu ko maar hai, Hindu Muslim ko maar hai. Video from Guatemala claiming that a Marwadi Hindu woman has been burnt alive for not wearing a burqa in Hyderabad. The only concern, the emotion that we felt was fear, because we had already seen the capacity of these videos to cause riots.
Remains at large, while the inflammatory fake video which he shared became the first of a series of triggers where communal politics and official ineptitude combined to light the flames of Muzaffarnagar.
पुलिस जिस वीडियो का जिक्र कर रही है उसके बारे में बताया जा रहा है कि वो पाकिस्तान के सियालकोट का है, जिसे 2010 में YouTube पर डाला गया था.
Whenever there's something big that happens in the news, if there's a big event that's happened, that becomes the pivot around which misinformation is then circulated. Now, a lot of it is on WhatsApp, it's on Twitter, it's on Facebook. So our work essentially involves monitoring these social media and messaging platforms, looking for videos or pictures or information which has gone viral and which is suspected to be false. And if at all it turns out to be false or untrue or half true, that's when we make an article out of it.
There was a lot of thought which went into what should be the constitution of the company itself, and we went for a not-for-profit company because in the present state of democracy as we are, when you have a big ticket investor, they get squeezed by the government. They want to control the editorial line. The role of misinformation is constantly to further an agenda, to set narratives.
Like before the 2019 elections, there was a lot of misinformation surrounding West Bengal because it's one of the few states where the BJP is not in power. Then after the abrogation of provisions of Article 370, we had a lot of misinformation surrounding Kashmir.
BBC, Al Jazeera, Reuters had done ground reports on protests that had erupted in Kashmir. The Home Ministry had tweeted that these reports are fabricated and there haven't been any mass protests in Kashmir. At about 33 seconds into the video, we see Ramzan Memorial. It's a board of, if you search it on Google, Ramzan Memorial. So there's a Ramzan Memorial Educational Institute in Kashmir. Video, you can see a mosque. This is the BBC video, and even in the Al Jazeera footage,
sustained pellet injuries and they are admitted in Srinagar
there's a mosque here.
Hospital. Now there have been sporadic protests in
Green
the
and white
last
colored
few days
mosque
ever
with
since
the
government of India to
two sort of
the site.
which is the same here. So what we did is we went to Google and we just typed mosques in Sora. There's a mosque called Jainab Sahib Mosque, which looks pretty much the same. And there is another video of Kashmir protests by Al Jazeera which shows the mosque. It's the same mosque.
We were fearing that it is this Hindu-Muslim kind of misinformation which would lead to people getting killed. But what none of us expected, that messages which claim that there are people who are coming from outside and they're going to kidnap your children and they're going to sell their organs. If it is viral in Maharashtra, it'll be a different commissioner. If it is viral in Gujarat, it'll be a different commissioner. And these kind of messages, they are the ones that started killing people. It's something that we just did not expect. That was a reality check for us, that that is the level of lack of digital empowerment. That a person can get so fearful reading one of these fake WhatsApp messages. And why fearful? Because here there's a sense of personal loss, that their child is going to get kidnapped. It is not about some person belonging to the religious community getting killed. No, this is much more personal. And people actually went out on the streets and started killing people. I don't think that, let's say, in a country like Denmark, if you were to put out child kidnapping rumors, people will come out on the street and start killing people. That won't happen. But it has happened in India, it has happened in Bangladesh very recently, where people have been killed. Two countries which are developing countries, which have large sections of population, which have next to no digital empowerment.
We're trying to promote a digital economy without digital literacy. So just by making data more easily available and cheaper doesn't mean people would know how to use it effectively.
As fact checkers, we want all the people who are being exposed to misinformation to have access to fact checks, to be able to read fact check. But what probably is happening is probably 1% of this entire population is reading fact checks, or less than that. So soon we realized the larger objective of alt news is to create critical thought in the society. Writing journalistic pieces was clearly not enough. Over time, we have figured out our strategy, and the strategy is threefold. Essentially, there's a journalistic approach. We go to colleges, we go to people at large, we talk about this issue again and again. We created a module, which will teach people how to fact check information, viral images, viral videos, etc.
There's so much that you can do on Google itself to find out if something is true or not. Keyword search, you can do a reverse search of images. Twitter is even better because Twitter advanced search is pretty sophisticated. This is very basic knowledge that people don't know about.
Then we realized that while there are tons of apps using which you can consume information, there are no apps using which you can authenticate information. When you're getting images and videos, then there is no search engine where you can throw an image at or a video at and get results. There is Google reverse image search, but it works differently. It'll give you all the results where a image has appeared, and for video there's no such thing. So what we developed was, and this was in collaboration with a company in Pune called QED42, and they did this work completely pro bono, is a image video search engine which maps the viral images and videos to their corresponding fact checks. So let's say if you're using WhatsApp and if it's something that we've already fact checked, if you feed that image or video to the app, you'll get an automated answer. When somebody gets an automated answer without human involvement, the answer is almost instant, then that person is more likely to share that fact check to the place where the original source of misinformation was, whether it was a family WhatsApp group or a work WhatsApp group or a college WhatsApp group. And when that happens, then we were able to tap in to the WhatsApp users, and they started sending us stuff. So we were able to track misinformation before it surfaced on the regular networks such as Facebook and Twitter. We are essentially going back to the echo chamber, trying to burst the echo chamber. Since day one, the decision was to have a copyleft philosophy, not a copyright philosophy, to create models that can be replicated. Essentially, what we're trying to tell media organizations and social media organizations, for that matter, is that look, this is the way forward in case of misinformation. And with a small organization, we are able to create such technology. Then what is stopping you?